Today, we got a Cinderella race to discuss, and Penn State versus Ohio State, the game of the week, and Michigan State once again breaks some rules. This is American Game Day. Welcome to American Game Day today, Saturday, October 21st. Got a great show planned for ya, but first up, we got a big game this afternoon, starting off in just an hour away. Penn State, Ohio State. Yeah, the top of the Big Ten. Penn State hasn't been able to beat Ohio State in a decade. I don't know the actual streak of it, but all I know is Penn State fans are tired of this loss. And also, they're on the road, even challenging. They definitely, for like the fifth straight year, have the roster, have the talent to win this game. But first, let's talk about some weekday scoreboard recaps. Alright, Western Kentucky played Jacksonville State. They had a chance and knocked them off. It didn't work. Jacksonville State ended up winning 20-17. And then we had some Thursday night football for you. James Madison versus Marshall. I thought this would be a really good game. Really true test for James Madison. Clearly, they show no letdown. They beat Marshall 20-9. And they are 7-0 and still won't be able to go to a bowl game. So, yeah, NCAA, come on, fix this. Yep, they were denied once again. And we got some college football headlines for you. The NCAA is investigating Michigan because Jim Harbaugh hired some staff to, scout other teams and watch their signs. Yeah, doesn't that every school do that? Every team do that? Well, apparently Michigan is doing it illegally, apparently. So once again, Michigan is on the hot seat, I guess you would like to call it. So, yeah, not a good look for Jim Harbaugh once again as he is in the news. Don't they always like to be in the news anyway? Man. And Kirby Smart has no timeline for when Brock Bowers will be back after he's recovering from his injury. So we'll see how that goes. A big loss for the Georgia Bulldogs tight end offensive. But yeah, I don't think anyone could still stop him. I think you still gotta figure out how to stop that Georgia defense, or really not stop him, but, blow by him. Alright. And then I got one last headline for you. Alright, Kansas State. Well, I actually got a few more, but Kansas State quarterback Will Howard and Avery Johnson will both be used today. Yep. He said he was gonna use both quarterbacks today because Kansas State really needs to, after winning the Big 12 last year, they're having a hard time getting things going. So, yeah, they still don't know how to play. We mid-season and they're still having quarterback problems? That's not a good look for Kansas State and the formal Big 12 winners. All right. Well, now let's look at Air Force. Yeah, they're 6-0. They're looking really good. They're playing Navy today, but their starting QB went out with a knee injury over the weekend during practice. So, Zach Larrell will be out. No timeline for how long he'll be out, but he does have a knee injury, and that's a big loss for Air Force right there. Alright, our game of the week, Penn State versus Ohio State. Gonna be a big game. Again, like I mentioned, that these two have great histories, but it usually falls on Ohio State the last 5 years. Penn State got the roster, got the talent to win this game, but they are on the road. Can they pull this off? 11 o'clock on Fox. Gonna be a close one, but this is also Ohio State's best team under Ryan Day that he's had. And Ohio State has some pretty good teams. They're number 1 in my book this year right now, with Florida State at 2. I'll get to my top 6 later on. But yeah, let's talk about some the QB real quick. So Drew out for Penn State. 118 completions for 185. He's 65%. He's over 12,000 yards. 12 touchdowns, and he's 0 interceptions. That's really good. 0 interceptions. Not bad. But then we got Kyle McCoy from Ohio State. 109 complete, over 170, 64%. Total yards is over 1,600, I'm sorry. Got 11 touchdowns, and he's not perfect with interceptions. He's thrown 1, so he is definitely interceptable. So we'll see, but he's only thrown 1. So we'll see if Penn State can handle that defense, or handle their defense against that offense. We'll see. But Ohio State does have the best defense in the Big Ten. And here's a quick look at your Big Ten standings. Ohio State is at 1, Michigan at 2, Penn State 3, Iowa 4, and Wisconsin at 5. Gotta be some big matchups in here that will really shake things up. So let's look at let's see here. We got Minnesota versus Iowa. 2:30 NBC. I mean, Minnesota, I really thought they were going to be like the Cinderella-ish team of the Big Ten. Not really this year. Illinois, I thought they were going to be like that too. Nope. Iowa, for sure win. I think we'll definitely see some points. They might even get back to where they were. You know what I'm talking about on points, down a distance. Wisconsin, yeah. Easy win over Illinois. So Iowa, Wisconsin, definitely the 2 big dogs in the west of the Big Ten. And Iowa, with that win over Wisconsin last week, definitely has that edge. Alright, not really some big matchups for the Big Ten this week. It's just that one, which is the game of the week. But I think we're next week going to get some really big ones in the Big Ten. That's really going to shake up the conference. Alright, let's look at the ACC standings real quick. At number 5, they got Georgia Tech. Number 4 is Louisville with that unexpected loss to Pittsburgh last week. Number 3 is Duke. And then the top 2 big dogs in the ACC, the undefeated teams, North Carolina and Florida State. Wow. And oh yeah, Duke is undefeated in conference. So that's something to keep an eye on. And guess what? They're on the road playing Florida State. Gonna be a big game this evening. Number 16 versus 4. Can Duke pull it off? They're on the road. Florida State has had some struggles this year. But they tend to get things done with bigger opponents. But with not big opponents or trap games, they really have a hard time in those games. So this is a really true test for Florida State if they can hang in with Duke and finish this game. Boston College, Georgia Tech, I need another game on this board, but Clemson and Miami, I expect that to be a big game this year. I still think it's a big game, but this time it's not going to affect who is going to go to the ACC championship game. It's really more of, can we go to a good bowl game this year? Both teams are going to a bowl game. It's a matter of how great of a bowl game you're going to. But, yeah. Both games are on ACC Network. The first one's at 2:30, and the second one is at 7. Yeah, but if I were to pick a winner of this game, I would go with Georgia Tech. And I I'm gonna go with Miami. They're at home. They haven't won in 2 weeks. I don't think they're gonna go 3 straight losses with the L. So, give me Miami with the win here. All right, the Big Ten standings. Let's take a look at the Big Ten. At number 5 is Kansas State. They're still in the running for the Big 12. Oklahoma State still is up there. Iowa State's still up there. Texas is second right now, and Oklahoma is 100% first right now. As the only undefeated team in the Big 12, followed by Texas. The rest got work to do. I mean, someone needs to stand out in the Big 12. But we do have the Big 12 Championship rematch, 6 o'clock on ESPN2. TCU and Kansas State. Now, both of them are not the same team they were last year. Unfortunately, you would think that, oh wow, they both made their conference tournament. Their conference game. Let's go play for them. It just did not, it worked. But, they're young players, and they need to make adjustments. So, I do think Kansas State and TCU will be right back up there. It's going to take a couple of years. OSU, West Virginia. Going to be a big game to see. That's really the battle of third place right now in the Big 12. 2:30 on ESPN. I have West Virginia winning this game close. We might even have an overtime game in this game. And Texas Tech and BYU, both those two teams are struggling right now and need a win. Need a win desperately. 6 o'clock on FS1. I think BYU will get this at home. Alright, now let's look at the Pac-12 standings. This is going to be pretty interesting because the Pac-12 is still wide open. Utah still has a chance. Oregon State still has a chance. USC still has a chance. They're up there. Oregon at 2. And then, of course, Washington with that win last week is at 1. You're probably wondering, well, why is USC at 3 when they're 4-0? Well, I usually don't do it based on their conference records. I usually do it, I do it kind of based off that and also who have they played, too. But, tonight is USC's chance to take that number 1 spot in the Pac-12 over Washington. They got the Pac-12 rematch from last year. Utah, USC. Number 14 versus 18. The winner in this game likely has a chance to the Pac-12 championship. The loser probably out of the rankings. Washington State versus Oregon. I was right the first time. Washington State and Oregon. Big game. Washington State just fell the rankings. Win this game, they're back in. Also, Oregon coming off a disappointing field goal. Here's their chance to redeem themselves. 2:30 on ABC, and then UCLA and Stanford 9:30 on ESPN. Pac-12 after dark. I know that's not that big of a game, but it is Pac-12 after dark. Stanford had done some crazy things in Colorado. So we'll see how that game goes. But I'm expecting that to be a blowout for UCLA. I think Chip Kelly will have his first huge win at that program. But you never know with Pac-12 after dark. But and I got Oregon beating Washington State. All right, the SEC we go. Who we have to top the SEC? Well, number 5 is Ole Miss. Number 4 is Missouri. Number 3 is LSU. Number 2 is Alabama. And number 1 is, of course, the one and only two-peat Georgia. Looking for a three-peat right now. Georgia and Alabama are both undefeated in the SEC with LSU right behind them. Missouri is basically the Cinderella of the SEC right now. I'll get to more of that later on. But Tennessee versus Alabama at 2:30 on CBS, the SEC game of the week. Gonna be a big one. Can't wait to watch this one because y'all remember what happened last year. Well, here comes the Crimson Tide revenge. I mean, there won't be no field storming, early prediction for this game. But, yeah, it will definitely be a revenge this time. And then we got Mississippi State versus Arkansas, 11 o'clock on ESPN, and Ole Miss versus Auburn at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Gonna be some basic low-level matchups in the ACC, but a chance for teams to stand out. Mississippi State and Arkansas, they're both fighting for a win and basically possibly go to a ball game. The loser, not go to a ball game. The winner has a chance. Ole Miss and Auburn, they're both up there. I mean, they both probably don't have a shot at the SEC, but they do have a shot at pulling upset down the road. I got Arkansas winning, and I have Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin find a way to. I think Ole Miss will trail most of the game and come back from behind with their powerful offense and win this game. So yeah, some low-level SECs. All right, and then let's take a look at the group of 5. Eastern Michigan, Northern Illinois, 2:30 ESPN Plus. Not really that big of a game, but our big one is Toledo and Miami, Ohio, 3 o'clock ESPNU. They're both 6-1. Really, really good matchup. I'm siding back and forth between these two. Again, this game's part of my pick'em. I don't know. I still don't know who to pick. And then we got Coastal Carolina, Arkansas State at 6 o'clock, ESPN Plus. They're both 3-3. Again, I need to throw another game in there. And then Georgia State and Louisiana, another big game that I'll keep my eye on. I mean, if the Utah and USC game gets uninterested, I'll have multiple games on at the same time. So definitely keep an eye on that one to see who's going to stand out in the Sun Belt. Cinderella Race 2023. Last year was an incredible year. We had a Cinderella last year for sure. That team was TCU. This year, it's a completely different story. We got Missouri, Washington, North Carolina. More standing out. First look at Missouri. They're 6-1. They're third in the SEC East. Their only loss to a ranked LSU, and they beat Kansas State. North Carolina, they're 6-0. They're second in the ACC. They're one of 3 undefeated teams in the ACC. Washington, they're 6-0, second in the Pac-12. They got a Heisman quarterback candidate. They have a win over top 10 Oregon, and there are only 3 ranked teams left on their schedule. What a Cinderella story this is for 2023. Alright, let's look at my top 6 rankings. Any changes after a basic mid-level week last week? Did Washington jump into my top 6 with that win over Oregon? Well, let's find out. My top 3, still the same. Actually, my top 4 is still the same. I still have Ohio State, Florida State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Penn State, and Michigan. So yeah, no change in my top 6 this week. But there are some changes to AP. We'll get to that in a second, but I really like my top 6 right now. I really would not change it. I mean, really, I can really change it any way I want. These 6 teams, really the top 17, including Washington, are really tied for first right now. But I really think that Ohio State, Florida, and Georgia tied for 1. Oklahoma, Penn State, Michigan, and Washington are tied for 2nd. I think the AP kind of agrees with me. I mean, we had the same 7 teams in the top 7. They got Georgia at 1 still, Michigan at 2, number 3 still Ohio State, number 6, who's it gonna be? Well, it's Oklahoma. They dropped them 1 spot to make room for Washington at 5 and Florida State at 4. Yep, they moved Washington up a couple spots. Oklahoma fell off a bye week, which is okay. I think they'll take it. It gives them more reason to battle back up. No doubt. I don't think we're going to see any 2 teams from the same conference in the playoffs this year. So that's your top 6 comparison. Pretty much the same basic teams. We all know, we are in agreement which teams are the best. It all comes down to order. And I think we'll figure that out the next couple of weeks. Let's take a look at some headlines for the NFL. Deshaun Watson's got a shoulder injury. He was practicing, throwing practices earlier this week, so he is questionable for tomorrow, but he does have a shoulder injury. It's just throwing shoulder, so we'll see about that. I'm going to say he's going to be out, which is bad because, they had a big win last week, big upset last week. And the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs' punter is injured. They don't have a backup. Well, Patrick Mahomes said that, hey, I could punt in practice. So, Patrick Mahomes is now their backup punter, and he will be punting in their game tomorrow. So, not 100% certain yet, but the Chiefs are opening to letting him punt if they need him to. Wow, I never knew that he was a punter. Alright, well, let's take a look at the NFL standings. Here's the American side. The Bills are at 5. Number 4 is the Jaguars. Number 3 is the Ravens. Number 2, the Dolphins. And number 1 is, of course, the Swifties. Yep, the Swifties are still number 1. Yep, so it's basically between the Swifties and the Dolphins for first place Americans. And then the Ravens, Jaguars, Bills, they're still competing. I think they're good. Jaguars are basically the surprising team for me in the American Conference. I think Trevor Lawrence has done a really good job. I mean, he had a slow NFL start, but he's they're slowly building a roster around him, and they look pretty good. They look really good, and I think they have a run at a playoff this year. So, keep an eye on the Jaguars. They look good, but don't sleep on the Dolphins. But, they played nobody yet this year. But they did get 70 points one game. All right, let's look at the national standings in the NFL, if it will animate in. Come on, animate in for me. All right, there we go. All right, national standings. We got number 5, Buccaneers. Really good right now. The Cowboys are at 4. Not that bad of a look right now. The Cowboys, Buccaneers, just hanging on. The Lions are at 3. Eagles are at 2. 49ers at 1. Yeah, the 49ers and Eagles were both the only undefeated teams before last week's start. They both lost on an unexpected upset. So it's now the battle for those two to go to the Super Bowl this year. Both of them for sure. Lions for sure in the playoffs. I think the Cowboys and Buccaneers, I think they're pretty good to go to the playoffs as well. But they got some work to do. Both the Cowboys and Buccaneers got some work to do. They are definitely not perfect, but they just need to figure out how to finish games the way that they need to finish games. Their problem is getting an early start. When they fall behind, it's hard for them to come back into these games. That's the problem with both those two teams right now. All right, now let's look at some Thursday Night Football. Jaguars, they got a win. Move them up ahead. I forgot to update them in the standings. So, I had another win for the Jaguars. So, the American standing is now not up to date now. I forgot to fix that. Although, it may actually be fixed by now. I'm going to actually fix this after I record it. So, in case you're probably wondering, well, they got a win now. Well, I know. But they beat the Saints. And another big game. The Falcons versus the Buccaneers tomorrow at noon on Fox. Then the Lions versus the Ravens at noon on Fox. So big games. I'll talk about some other couple games coming up. But some big games to pay very close attention to. The Falcons, they're good, but I don't think they're good enough. But it's really a true test for the Buccaneers if they are really a playoff team. Same with the Lions. Ravens, they're both at the top of their conference. Chance for them to stand out from the rest of the teams. Steelers, Rams, I need a third game to put on here. But my fourth big game this week, Miami and the Eagles, the game of the week. 7:20 on NBC. Gonna be a big game tomorrow night. And the Monday Night Football game, yeah, it's not even worth talking about. But yeah, Dolphins, Eagles, big game. This will really truly show, are Miami really that great of a team? I know they have blown out teams, but they really played nobody. This is really their first somebody they played this year. But let's take a look at it. Tagovailoa, yeah, 71%, over 1,800 yards. Got 14 touchdowns, but you got to fix your interceptions. He's got to be more careful with the ball. Why is he should not be throwing this many interceptions. I think Miami could be a really good team if he protects the ball very well. You want to know who doesn't protect the ball even worse? Jalen Hurts. He's thrown 7 interceptions. 7 touchdowns. This is Miami's chance to make him have more interceptions and more touchdowns. He's over 1,500 yards and he's 66%. But not that great of a stat for Jalen Hurts this year. He had quite a MVP season last year. But yeah, let's check out what's going around the network here on Busy Sports. Playboard Podcast every Monday at 6, breaking down whatever I think is the biggest topic of the week from that weekend. And then Down and Distance every Tuesday at 6, breaking down the full college football weekend, every game, every score, mostly all the big ones. And then the Beta Bowl CFP rankings come out Halloween weekend. I'll give you an early look at it, what it might look like on Wednesday at noon. And then on Wednesday night, I'm going to give you Hardwood Hoops. Break it down, early look at college basketball. And if you haven't already, check out our website for the latest news, scores, stats, etc. That's all going around the network here on Busy Sports. Let's take an early look at college basketball real quick. You thought I was going to do joke game of the week, but no. I'm talking about college basketball right now. The AP has released their preseason rankings for college basketball. Let's take a look at it. Number 5 is Mark Hughes. Number 4 is Michigan State. Number 3 is Purdue. Number 2 is Duke. And number 1 is Kansas. And you can see the first place votes in parentheses. And I gotta say, not bad. Not bad. I think I agree with it. Even though I'm in more into college football this year. I really haven't paid attention to college basketball. But give me an early look at making what to expect, I guess. Number 10 is Florida Atlanta. Number 9 is Tennessee. Creighton is 8. Houston is 7. And number 6 is UConn. Yes. Yep. And I think UConn got 2 first place votes. That is right. So, yeah, there is your college basketball AP top 10 for the preseason. Alright, now it's time for the joke game of the week. I am undefeated, but I got a good one, a hard one. You guys wanted me to do some harder ones this week. You got it. Saturday, 2:30. South Carolina, Missouri. It's a conference game this time. I haven't done many conference games, mostly from the SEC, because the SEC is wide open. But, South Carolina, they've had their seasons. They've had their games where they don't look great, and they've had their games where they look incredible. But Missouri, they are the dark horse, the Darth Vader of the SEC, what some people and some media have called them. I got Missouri winning this game. They look really good, but yeah, this is really a trap game for Missouri. If they win this game, they could be easily in the running for the SEC this year. Alright. It's now time for the option. First game, NFL. We got the Browns versus the Colts. Noon. Gotta be a big game. I know I didn't talk about this much earlier. This is actually the first time I talked about this graphic on this game on this show. Mainly, I was going to talk about the game, but I already had the graphic made, but they are without Deshaun Watson. Give me the Colts. They're at home. I feel like they need a win when they need a win. Give me the Colts on this win, because Deshaun Watson, if he doesn't play, even if he does play, I think the Colts still wins this game. Alright, and then we got the Falcons versus the Buccaneers. This is a tough one for me. Falcons, they've had their ups and downs. They're a roller coaster of a team. Buccaneers, they are a roller coaster of a team as well, but they have more control. They're more stable of a roller coaster. Yeah, it's... what I was trying to say is, if you like roller coasters, ride the Falcons. If you like it less crazy, ride the Buccaneers. But they do have some problems that they need to fix. If I were to pick a winner, I'd go with the home team's Tampa Bay to win this game. Alright, and then I got another NFL game to talk about. Yep. We got the Lions versus the Ravens at noon on Fox. 64 degrees, mostly cloudy, blah blah blah, that weather stuff, yeah. Anyway, yeah, gotta be a big game for these two teams. If I were to pick a winner, this is really a hard pick. No, I got the Lions. Definitely the Lions. I haven't picked a road team in the NFL in a while, so yeah, it's fun to see road teams win, pull up big wins. I think it's going to be a big win, a good statement for the Lions tomorrow. And then on Sunday night, our NFL game of the week, 7:20 NBC. Mostly clear, 62 degrees, Dolphins versus the Eagles. Gotta be nice, perfect weather for football. If I were to pick a winner of this game, I would probably go with based on upsets. I love to see upsets. I think Dolphins can get it done. The Eagles has struggled protecting the ball. Jalen Hurts, I think they're going to force more interceptions with Jalen Hurts. And then on the college football, Pac-12, 2:30 ABC, Washington State versus number 9, Oregon. Only fell one spot with that loss, mainly because they should have won that game. Here's their chance of redemption, beating that same team, but the State. Give me Washington with this win. And then we head to our next game, the Big 12. Oklahoma State versus West Virginia, 2:30 ESPN. This is a tough one for me to pick. I really do not know who to pick in this game. Both of them, I mean, West Virginia was picked last in the Big 12 preseason. Oklahoma State was picked last in the Big 12 in the preseason for me. Both of them are in the middle of the Big 12. I'm just going to go with the home team on this one. Yeah, West Virginia hasn't had a win in a while, and I think they're going to get this win here at home. And then our Group of 5 game of the week, 3 o'clock on the U. Yeah, Toledo versus Miami, Ohio. This is a tough one for me. I was going back and forth all week long on this game. I really like how both these two teams are playing. Both of them are going to go to a big bowl game, I'm pretty sure. But Miami is going to the bigger bowl game. And then our Big 12 championship rematch, 6 o'clock ESPN2. Not the same hype it was last time these two played each other, but it will still be, I think it'd still be a classic game. But if I have to pick a winner, Kansas State, although they are having quarterback issues right now, still don't know who to play mid-season. I think it'll be enough to confuse. I think it's a good strategy to confuse that TCU defense, who's been struggling lately, but no doubt TCU's offense will keep them in that game. And then at 7 o'clock on ACC Network, we got Clemson versus Miami. Gonna be a big one. Not as big as I probably thought before the season started, but it's still a good one. A chance to go to improve your bowl resume, but Miami hasn't won a game in 2 games. And then we got Georgia State versus Louisiana, 7 o'clock on the U. Gotta be a hot game for players and the fans. Georgia State, I really like the way they've been playing lately. I think they can pull off this win. I really think they can. They're on the road. They feel the momentum heading their way. Give me Georgia State with this win. And now let's look at some other big games around the country. 2:30 CBS. Tennessee versus Alabama. Number 17 versus 11. Gotta be a big game for the SEC. Y'all remember what happened last year. I repeat it. They threw the goalpost in the river, in the lake, whatever it was. I forgot what what kind of it was, but anyway, they threw it in a body of water. Alabama wants revenge. Nick Saban's going to come after them with the win. They're at home. No doubt Alabama fans will be ready for this game. And I can't wait to see how those fans react after that win. Probably nothing because they're used to winning. But anyway, ACC we go. 6:30 ABC. Number 16 versus 4 Duke. Florida State. Really a true test for both these two teams. Winning this game likely has a chance at the ACC. Duke wins this game, no doubt. They have a good chance at not only making the playoffs at the national championship game. Give me Florida State in this win. And then we got Utah versus USC, 14-8. 7 o'clock on Fox. Bright, sunny. Heading into a night game lately in the fourth quarter. Yeah, sun goes down, possibly. Going to be a big game. Pac-12 championship rematch. Not as high hope that there was, last time these two played together, but a lot is on the line. USC, playoff hopes, probably got shattered losing Notre Dame, but I still think they find a way to win this game after their unbelievable loss last week. And our game of the week, number 7 Penn State versus number 3 Ohio State. 11 o'clock on Fox, 57 degrees, sunny with a few clouds, blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go. Who am I going to pick to win this game? I've been talking, all show long, all week long down in this show about this game. I've been hyping it up. Really true test for both these two teams. If I were to pick a winner in this game, I'm picking the winner who I think deserves the number 1 spot. I've had the number 1 all season long. That is Ohio State. Now, I do think they will probably be playing from behind most of the game, but I do think they'll find a way to win this game in the fourth quarter. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next Saturday at 10 a.m.